government money is not cheap.
No,
Number one, we have to abide by Davis-Bacon Act and prevailing wage. And so that makes the cost of everything more.
well, it depends on the money used. Some require and some don't. So rural development does not require that. It does require American iron and steel.
Well, I think that's in general now because of supporting our steel.
Yeah, so rural development requires American iron and steel, so does DEQ, but DEQ also requires Davis-Bacon. In the last couple of years, it didn't matter. What people were paying construction crews was essentially Davis-Bacon because there's so much going on. I don't know what that's going to look like in the next couple of years. Depends on who you ask, right? Some people think we're going to get right through this COVID thing and take off. Some people think we might have a really rocky next couple of years. We're bidding projects right now though, and we're not seeing prices coming down much.
I understand, but I just want to bring up the point that government money isn't cheap.
Nope. So we're going to talk a little bit about government money in just a sec. So we had talked about, and Larry, I think this was the phasing that you gave me, but I got a note that I might have mixed up some of these numbers. I took them off the phasing plan that we put together.
Yeah.
The phasing plan roughly makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So it should do everything at, if you want to break it up into 3 different time brackets, you do the stuff at well 7 and well number 8. Those are public health things you have to do. And then you would do the transmission main from well 7 to Bayview because that's where we think we have some leakage. So that makes sense as phase 1. Phase 2, you go in and rehabilitate the existing Farragut tank. If you're going to do that, I don't think you can wait too long. I think if you don't take care of it fairly soon, the damage that's happened to the concrete won't be fixable.
Right.
So you want to get that in as soon as you can. And then you do that new distribution main to drill more as the last piece. And that way, by then maybe you've got an idea where you're headed. The benefit of waiting potentially on the tank is, who knows, you might end up with the stimulus program that might come in and give money to do a lot more work than you originally budgeted for. If that happens, and it's grant funded, then maybe you build the tank, maybe you rehab the tank, whatever you choose to do, but you've got an opportunity to do it without having the ratepayers pay for it. In 2009, when we did the American Reinvestment Recovery Act,
Aurora.
Yeah, that one. It had another name though. Anyway, that's stimulus funding. What we saw was DEQ would do 50-50 grant loan packages, and the loan packages were some of them were as low as 0.5% interest. I don't know if we're going to see that again, but that would be really nice. And this COVID thing is not great, but yeah, opportunity, right?
Well, I thought the phasing was a 5-year plan.
Will DEQ accept the 10-year phasing?
Well, I've got more than 10 years, right?
Yeah, you have
I've got.
Yeah, well, I think my original was when I called it out. I didn't go 5 years because that's kind of what Katie had talked about. So I think that looking at this, that's probably where Katie was saying, well, if you're doing this 15 years out, well, it's not going to be acceptable. But yeah, she was more, you got to get this thing done in the next 5 years type thing.
Yeah.
So when it was submitted, it wasn't submitted with our 5-year.
No, it was submitted with this one. Exactly.
That's where that comes from.
That's where that came from. Where did she get
What I was trying to do is get, because you really can't, it's difficult to do these projects. It's difficult enough to do these projects, and the best you can do is bite off these in 5-year chunks. So if you're going to do it, then you really squeeze it all into one project. You can't, because you can't really fund them. It takes enough time to fund, design, and construct that the project takes around 5 years anyway.
But see, this in here, the drill more is the last phase.
Correct.
She's saying we have to move that up.
She's saying she
Well,
wants it to be moved.
Well, she's saying that in 15 years it's not acceptable.
Right.
And my original thought was that it was going to be done. It was going to be completed or started in like year 6 or year 5 or something like that.
And think that's one of our weak spots. The only money we're losing by pumping all this water, non-revenue water, is what it costs to bring it up out of the ground.
It's, you know, there are lots of different viewpoints on that. I've got a lot of people that say, you know, based on numbers like this, we're better off just to keep the old leaky pipe because our electricity is really cheap. The risk is you get potential contamination. Any place water can leak out, stuff can flow back into. Not while it's under pressure, but if you ever shut it down, that might be.
Well, and that was the issue with the fire flow, is because if the pressure goes down, and then you're gonna have sucking it back in.
Yeah.
So can we take the Dromore and move it to the first phase then, if that's what she wants?
I wouldn't do that. I think we still need to get the tank needs to get done before Dromore anyway.
The tank, not the tank, but that 12-inch line has to be done before Dromore makes any sense.
Yeah, but our tank issue and the leaking lines are probably more an issue than the Dromore. Because the Dromore is more your fire flow
Fire pressure.
and pressure. Yeah.
Just to a few houses up high.
I still don't understand how the 12-inch line is going to increase pressure.
Oh, because, I know, I didn't explain that very well. So, right now, you've got the pressure that's up here, and this is the level of the water tank, right? As you flow from the water tank into town, you go through a pressure reducing valve, which drops the pressure down like this. And so everything that's in the upper part of town is at that lower pressure. Dromore, the pressure comes from the tank. But if you put that 12-inch line around, you keep this pressure up here. So the pressure's all the way around town is this higher number. You still drop the pressure to the lower part of town, but you've got higher pressure in the rest of it. Does that make sense?
Well, you're dealing with gravity, and we're 24-30 over our tank,
Yeah, that's what
and we're what 23 something over here.
But the problem is when it goes through town, it goes through the pressure reducing valve. So basically, you've taken a lot of that head.
You've taken the.
And that if we didn't have those pressure reducing valves, it would be fine up there. But because we have those pressure reducing valves, we lose that pressure.
We do still have 65 pounds at Limekiln.
Are you talking about for Dromore?
I'm
Or are you
talking about
talking
Limekiln. We have 65 pounds of pressure.
Yeah, which is good, and that meets all the requirements.
And we're only a matter of.
But is that the top of Limekiln or is that the bottom of
It's at
Limekiln?
the booster station.
It's where the booster pump takes off to go out to
The sealant pressure.
yeah.
So, and that's good for that area.
But we're not that far